The highest APY pools on Aerodrome could be the worst place or the best place to put your money. Because honestly, the yield, that APY, does not matter if you can't exit the position or if the price of the underlying asset tanks. Well, right now, Aerodrome Slipstream is still one of the best yield opportunities on Base. It is Base's liquidity hub, and it's a great way to farm the Base airdrop. But most people are chasing the emissions of the day or of the week. They're ignoring the liquidity, the execution, where the rewards and bribes are really going, and the survivability of that pair. So in this video, I'm breaking down some of the best LP strategies on Aerodrome using a real DeFi test portfolio, which we are going to build on the channel. And I would like to show you exactly how I pick pools using DefiLlama and some other protocol, and other analytics like Dune. So if you're trying to survive the bear market using DeFi, hit that subscribe button because I'm documenting all this in real time. So Aerodrome Finance isn't just a DEX on Base. It's a liquidity marketplace where LPs provide capital. The VE voters, which are the Aero token holders who have locked their Aero tokens for up to 4 years, they are getting those direct emissions. The protocols are also bribing for liquidity. This is where LPs can provide capital. VE Aero voters, the Aero token holders who have locked their tokens, are directing the emissions, and protocols are bribing for that liquidity. Look, that means on a protocol like this, yield is not stable. It can rotate every single week. And this is where people can get destroyed. They think the APR on Aerodrome is predictable. It's not. Now, if you spend enough time farming liquidity on Aerodrome, you will get very used to which pools perform the best over time. But if you're trying to find those Degen positions, you could be playing with fire. Because look, on this protocol, your yield comes from fees, and that's real from people swapping within the DEX, admissions, which are temporary, and bribes, which are rotating from pair to pair. A lot of times, those bribes are coming from the actual teams and protocols. And look, if your yield is all admissions and no fees, you don't have a strategy. You just have exposure to something that could be getting weaker within the market. So you have to be careful where your yield is coming from, what your underlying tokens are, and where those votes are being applied. So right now, I wanted you to take a look at my portfolio on Aerodrome. Now, we have quite a few positions here. Now, we have not decided yet which positions are going to be our main positions, but I have divided these into a few different categories. Core position, which would be this USDC Coinbase Bitcoin. And right now it's earning a nice yield of 116% APR. And this wrapped ETH USDC position, which is earning 23% APR with a moderately wide range between 1,800 and 2,350. Now, in DeFi, you should always test first, validate your execution, and then you scale. Now, real quick, I wanted to talk about my current structure of this portfolio, and then we'll get deeper into some of the positions. The core positions within this portfolio are deep liquidity pairs, which I just shared with you. That's the Coinbase Bitcoin USDC and the wrapped ETH USDC. Now, when we have our next capitulation events during this bear market, I may go into more correlated pairs, right? Like wrapped ETH Bitcoin. Now, why using larger cap assets for our core positions, and not just larger cap assets, we're using larger liquidity pools? That's because with your core position, you want real volume, You want real fees, even if you're earning extra from the admissions, and you want deep liquidity for your exits. So they're not usually the highest APY pools, but they're very survivable, especially during a bear market. Now, the second level of my DeFi portfolio would be a tactical position. An example would be Solana USDC. If you take a look right here, this Solana USDC one is actually earning around 310% APR. As you can see, I have dust within these positions, but we are testing them out to see which ones we want to deploy our capital into, kind of looking at some of the different APRs. And we'll look at these two Degen ones in just a minute. Now, back to Solana. Why do we like this Solana USDC concentrated 10 position? Well, the APR has been excellent. We did our research and we know that the votes and the fees have been going up on this position recently, which is usually a good sign of positive momentum. And we know you got a strong asset in Solana, which now is basically bridged between Base and Solana chain. And on top of that, the incentives are juicy, and I'll take 300% any day of the week on Solana. Now, the thing is you have to keep an eye on this because if the admissions on this SOL-USDC pool drop, I want to get out of it, and then I rotate into something else. Now, with a small portion of our DeFi Aerodrome portfolio, we would go into what I like to call small cap or degen positions. Ones we decided to look at were a banker wrapped ETH position, banker bot, which is a protocol on Base that can deploy tokens, answer questions, do portfolio review, way more. It's a terminal pretty much. Banker and wrapped Ethereum. This one, it's very volatile, but it has had a ton of volume and a ton of fees. Now, this banker wrapped ETH pool right now is earning 171%. Now, I do have a really wide range on this, but I would rather stay in range on this one and I would hold on to it because it is a correlated pair. They have been moving a little bit in unison against the wider, almost 30% range. And on top of that, I'm bullish on Banker. I'm bullish on ETH. And once we get to that bottom of the bear market, it's pools like this that we can sink our teeth into, those correlated pairs, where not only do you get the juicy yields, but you also get the price appreciation, which is awesome during the bull run. So this one, we farm the rewards. And because these positions right now are so volatile during the bear, we actually are converting most of this into USDC and just slowly we would stack stable coins. I wanted to kind of walk you through some of my thought processes here. Now, my hard rule with usually degen pools is I harvest, I sell my rewards, I do not hold the token. In fact, with Pendle positions, I've been selling off my Pendle. With Moonwell, we sold out most of our well. The only token I'm holding on to really is I do have some Camino staked on Camino Finance on the Solana blockchain, but that is to get better lending and borrow rates. Now, here's the thing. When we look at a position like banker wrapped Ethereum or this other one below it, this wrapped Ethereum syrup position, which is earning almost 200%. Syrup being a play within the RWA space. But when people over allocate to the degen pools, that is where they lose everything. Now, in this part of the stream, in this part of the video, wanted to take a look at one of my favorite protocols for doing research for picking out pools, and that would be DefiLlama. And now with their AI research assistant, it's even easier. So one thing I look for when I'm looking at pools is the total value lock and the liquidity depth, the stable growth of that pool, and not just hype APY spikes, volatile times in the market. Now, once I identify those pools, I tend to also go to Dune Analytics, and you can look at those pools and check the admission direction and the voting weight, where the incentives are flowing in the weekly changes. Now, sometimes this data can be very time consuming and exhausting to look at. But again, we can use AI to our advantage and have it help us analyze the analytics from Dune and have it spit out a report. We look at weekly changes and go from there. So what I want to do now is go into my filter system. So we're going to go to yields. So right now you're looking at all the different pools from Aerodrome Slipstream, their concentrated liquidity solution. And what's so cool is I can go into the different attributes and add if I want to look at just stable coins or correlated pairs or ones, then I can do so. But we are going to make our total value lock range around 50,000. And sometimes I like to put my APY and get that max APY below 1,000. It takes away a lot of those crazy Degen pools. Now, looking at this right now, it got our list down just by lowering the ATY and raising that total value lock by a little bit. And then you can sort by the total value locked, either by greatest to least. You can see the largest pools is Wrapped ETH, Coinbase, Bitcoin, which is one I think I'm going to add and keep an eye on because I'm going to be looking for a correlated pair pool pretty soon. Now, something else I wanted to point out while we were looking at this is I would not ever organize by APY because the number here is going to be highly inflated to what you're really going to earn. FOMO kind of kicks in a little bit, but you can always sort by the 30-day average ATY and it might give you a better picture, right? You can see here that looking at this, I can still see some pretty good pools here, like the Solana USDC we spoke of earlier, and so many more. So right now, I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the biggest traps, and that is high APY pools of small cap tokens and meme coins. Sometimes those thousands of percent of APY can look amazing. And this can be due to pumps, due to the emissions or teams that are bribing. But in reality, these coins very quickly can become low liquidity, admission driven, especially if they're admission driven, they're going to be extremely hard to exit. So remember, in that example, the yield is not real. And in those, the yield can be temporary and you have to play your cards like you understand that. One other thing I wanted to show you about DefiLlama is you can also flag and have some of your favorite pools to research. Now, looking in the old menu, you can go down to where it says Watchlist. And in this Watchlist, these are all the different pools that I've been saving from Aerodrome Slipstream. Wrapped ETH, Coinbase, Bitcoin, we just found. Wrapped ETH, USDC, USDC, Coinbase, Bitcoin pool. So many others. You can see our list right here. Now, some of these pools didn't work for us, some did, and some we're just watching right now. And if you click on the arrow right beside the number, it will actually take you to that pool within Aerodrome, as you can see. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about Catalyst with Aerodrome before we go back and look at the rest of our positions and let you understand why I'm paying attention right now. But before I tell you that, let me take a moment to thank you for spending a little bit of your time here. And if you were really interested in upping your DeFi game, please check out DADSDEFISPACE.org or our free Telegram group. But Base, which is the blockchain that Aerodrome was built on originally, is sitting at number 4 total value locked, right below Binance Chain, Solana, and Ethereum. Throughout the bull and the bear of this cycle, Base has been growing. On top of that, there's a Aero and Velodrome merger. Now, they were created by the same laboratories and, the same group. And this is going to create a liquidity concentration, more competition, look out Uniswap, and more bribes. And this also is going to bring Aerodrome and the Aero token to Optimism and the Ethereum chain. Now, do understand one thing about slipstream positions. They're much higher efficiency, but these positions require management. But you can also earn a heck of a lot more fees. And remember, Why are we discussing this protocol specifically? Because Aerodrome is the liquidity hub of Base. And likewise, by providing liquidity with Aerodrome, you may be positioning yourself for a better airdrop when that Base token is released. So remember, growth within a protocol increases the competition. But when this happens, not all pools can win. Because remember, some of the main risk you're taking when providing liquidity on Aerodrome is emissions rotation. Your position can go completely out of range, liquidity flight, and permanent loss, and even token volatility. So you have to be careful when managing slipstream positions. So remember, most of those losses aren't coming from bad entries. They come from bad exits out of those positions or just going into the wrong positions in general. So understand some of my rules. I exit when the rewards are starting to drop and volume is starting to drop. You see that total value lock collapse, or if I'm out of range for too long. But I don't constantly rebalance because I don't want to always suffer impermanent loss. So again, this is our test phase. We're going to validate which positions we're going to pick. We're going to scale the core, keep a small degen position, and we're going to rotate tactically. And at this point of the video, we want it to review our last couple of positions because we've already reviewed the banker wrapped ETH. And again, the emissions were going up 165% right now. The wrapped ETH syrup position, which is 100 or 97% right now, almost 200 really. I wanted to talk about a position that I felt like was struggling, right? And that is the Avant USDC. And what's crazy, it's earning more unstaked than it was earning staked, which means the fees right now are higher than the voting admissions. So what are we going to do with all of our positions here? Well, we are going to enter into two core positions, or we'll start with one. And for right now, we're choosing this USDC Coinbase Bitcoin pool. Then for our Degen level 2, or excuse me, our core 2, we're going to fill in the Solana USDC position, a solid 200% on Solana. I'll take it, although I do believe that it will be going down in price and probably more so than Bitcoin. And understand that the markets here, they're rewarding our execution, not hype. So if you want to learn how I'm truly building strategies like these step by step, check out our free course at DADSDEFISPACE and check out our free Telegram group for real-time updates. And if you want to support the channel, consider trading with LBank or Blofin, links in the description. And if this video truly helped you, like the video, subscribe, and comment below. Core position or degen position, and let me know what some of your favorite Aerodrome pools are. So remember, this is a system, not a trade, and it's educational only, not financial advice, because DeFi involves huge risk, liquidity, volatility, and smart contract risks. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.